Isn't it a magnificent engine sound?
It sounds like a Formula One car from the 1990s. It's a spine-tingling, howling, screaming noise. Honestly, listening to it makes your hair stand on end.
And it's true. The sound of this engine is a pure mechanical symphony. It is an absolute masterpiece of automotive art. Every single rev feels alive. Today, this car is a global legend worth well over $1 million. It is the holy grail for collectors. But behind this perfection lies a crazy story. To build this machine, Toyota spent 10 whole years in a complete engineering hell. They made mistakes, changed their minds, scrapped their prototypes, and lost billions of dollars. It was a massive financial disaster. But they didn't stop. They wanted to build the ultimate supercar. And they actually did it. Let's look at how this incredible story started. To truly understand the creation of the Lexus LFA supercar, we must travel back to the late 1980s and the decade of the 1990s. During this period, the Japanese automotive giant Toyota was at the absolute peak of its financial and production power. In 1989, the company made a massive strategic move by launching its premium sub-brand, Lexus, aimed squarely at the North American market to challenge Mercedes-Benz and BMW. While the first-generation Lexus LS 400 sedan revolutionized the industry in terms of reliability and cabin quietness, it completely failed to evoke any emotion. Throughout the 1990s, the Toyota brand remained synonymous with mass-market utilitarian transport. The corporation produced millions of reliable but entirely uninspiring front-wheel drive hatchbacks like the Corolla, alongside family minivans and commercial vehicles. In the automotive journalism and pop culture of that era, a firm stereotype was established. Toyota was a factory that built cars for pensioners and housewives. The company's marketers watched with horror as younger audiences completely ignored their showrooms, preferring aggressive Honda Civics with VTEC engines or all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza WRXS. Granted, Toyota had isolated sports projects, such as entering the Celica Coupe into WRC Group A, competing in the Japanese Touring Car Championship, JTCC, and attempting to conquer the grueling 24 Hours of Le Mans with the Toyota GT1 prototype. However, all of these racing programs existed completely separate from their road-going civilian cars. The average buyer walking into a dealership saw nothing but gray plastic and economy engines. The situation worsened in the early 2000s when Toyota officially entered Formula One as a full factory constructor. Management poured a record-breaking budget into F1, approximately $500 million per year. Yet, despite astronomical spending, the team spent years trapped at the back of the grid, earning a reputation as an inefficient titan that knew how to burn money but didn't know how to win. It was at this critical turning point that Akio Toyoda stepped onto the stage. At the time, he was not yet the global CEO of the entire corporation. He was an executive director and the grandson of the company's founder, Kiichiro Toyoda. Being a professional racing driver himself, competing in endurance races under the pseudonym Morizo, Akio took the company's international embarrassment personally. He recognized that Formula One was not giving the brand the prestige it needed, and the civilian lineup was rapidly turning into rolling kitchen appliances. In the autumn of 2000, Akio Toyoda decided to bypass the strict corporate bureaucracy and conservative board of directors. He organized an unofficial private meeting in a discreet traditional bar in Tokyo. He invited Haruhiko Tanahashi, one of the company's most brilliant and uncompromising engineers, who had previously engineered the iconic all-wheel drive Celica GT4. Alongside Tanahashi was the brand's chief test driver, Hiromu Naruse, the man who personally tuned the handling of every significant car the company made. Over mugs of beer, far from the watchful eyes of top management, Akio Toyoda pitched an idea that sounded like absolute madness. To build an ultimate, no-compromise supercar that would crush Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Porsche, proving Japan's absolute engineering supremacy to the world. Right there in the bar, this small group struck a secret pact, forming an isolated, covert engineering cell within the massive corporation. The project was handed strict classified status under the codename P280. The conspirators' primary rule was a total rejection of commercial boundaries. The car would be built, not for profit, but as a demonstration of absolute technology. Toyota's board of directors was intentionally kept in the dark for as long as possible, knowing the finance department would immediately veto a project demanding hundreds of millions of dollars with zero hope of a financial return in showrooms. Thus began a 10-year development history of a vehicle that became the most expensive hidden project in the history of the Asian automotive industry. Despite its status as an absolute technical triumph, from a business, marketing, and corporate finance perspective, the Lexus LFA became one of the most notorious and ruinous catastrophes in global automotive history. The development process, which dragged on for an entire decade, the total destruction of the initial production-ready aluminum program, the creation of a bespoke engine in collaboration with Yamaha, and the construction of the highly classified Motomachi plant with its specialized carbon fiber machinery cost Toyota anywhere between $1.5 to $2 billion by various estimates. This manic perfectionism, driven by the conspirators, with Akio Toyoda at the helm, dealt a colossal blow to the financial stability of the entire brand. The crisis peaked in 2008 when the global economic recession struck. Toyota's conservative board of directors watched in absolute horror as the LFA project swallowed massive amounts of capital without generating a single yen of profit. Ultimately, to keep the corporation afloat and sustain the bleeding development of the supercar, Toyota officially announced the complete shutdown of its factory Formula One team at the end of 2009. The corporation's massive racing budget was entirely emptied and rerouted just to save a single low-volume road car. To claw back even a fraction of these immense expenditures, management was forced to establish an astronomical retail price tag of $375,000. For the year 2010, this was an immense, staggering sum of money. The Lexus cost significantly more than the flagship supercars from Ferrari, Lamborghini, or Porsche, brands that had spent decades establishing their prestige. The corporation strictly limited production to exactly 500 units, hand-built at a painstaking rate of just one vehicle per day. Yet, even at this extreme price point, Toyota lost a colossal amount of money on every single car sold. The actual manufacturing cost of producing one unit vastly exceeded its retail market price when factoring in development expenditures. Independent economic analysts calculated that by handing over the keys to a buyer, Toyota was effectively subsidizing the purchase, giving away over $100,000 directly out of its own pocket. Investor capital vanished into thin air, and the project generated massive net losses with every new chassis assembled. Furthermore, terrified that speculators would immediately flip the car for a profit and make money off the company's financial losses, Toyota implemented unprecedented, aggressive regulations. In the United States, a customer could not simply buy the vehicle outright. It was initially offered only through a mandatory 2-year lease program with a strict contractual ban on resale. Even if a client insisted on an immediate purchase, Toyota retained the first right of refusal to buy the car back at a fixed price. The situation could not be salvaged even by the release of the extreme, track-focused Lexus LFA Nürburgring package, priced at a staggering $445,000 and limited to just 50 units. The global market met the supercar with massive skepticism. Wealthy collectors were highly reluctant to spend the price of a luxury villa on a Lexus brand that the general public associated with comfortable but incredibly boring hybrid crossovers meant for grocery shopping. The deeply ingrained image of cars for pensioners proved far more powerful than absolute engineering genius. The final production units of the LFA sat gathering dust in official dealership inventories across the US and Europe for years. Demand was so profoundly flat that even years after the official end of production, dealerships were still reporting sales of brand new, delivery mileage LFAs straight from their backlots because nobody wanted to purchase them at face value. Toyota created a technical masterpiece that permanently cemented their technological dominance over European competitors, but they entirely lost the economic war. It stands as a unique monument to uncompromising perfectionism, a project that completely killed Toyota's path in Formula One, but secured an immortal place for Lexus in automotive history as the creators of the loudest, most expensive, and soul-stirring failure of all time. It would seem that the story ends here, The project was cancelled, investors' money was lost, and Toyota's management vowed never to trigger such a financial reckless adventure again. However, time is the ultimate judge of true masterpieces. Years later, it became clear that the men who sat in that Tokyo bar in the year 2000 won the war in the long run. Every single cent poured into the development of the LFA eventually paid off with the most valuable resource in the world: absolute brand reputation. Today, in 2026, the global automotive community recognizes the Lexus LFA as one of the greatest supercars in human history, ranking it alongside legends like the McLaren F1 and Ferrari F40. The specialized expertise gained from weaving the LFA's carbon fiber chassis was directly utilized by Toyota to build their hypercars for the 24 Hours of Le Mans, where they subsequently secured 5 consecutive victories. The engineering lessons from the V10 engine laid the foundation for the new high-performance GR production series, successfully bringing back a young, dedicated audience to dealerships worldwide. Yet, the most staggering turn of events occurred in the collector market. The exact same cars that dealerships struggled to sell for $375,000 are today shifting at elite auctions for $1 and sometimes even $1.5 million. Collectors are aggressively hunting them down because the automotive industry has permanently shifted towards silent electric powertrains and muted turbo engines. The Lexus LFA stands as the final analog monster of a bygone era. Akio Toyoda and his covert engineering cell didn't just build an unprofitable vehicle, they forged an immortal legend, proving that genuine automotive passion is worth infinitely more than the cold, dry spreadsheets of corporate accountants.